So good morning once again. This week we're exploring the teachings on Mitahara. I'm wearing my fleece jacket to class because one of my commitments with Mitahara, which is a yama from the 10 yamas and the 12 niyamas, one of my commitments is to really, how shall I say, be discerning about or supervise my use of resources. So I don't turn the heat on in the house just randomly, and I don't turn it up high. And I do moderate when and how I'm using it. Not because I want to be cold, but I would like to feel like the actual season, what we're living in. I do go out to walk even when it's raining. It's difficult if it's raining and really windy, then I'm more thoughtful about it. I think the traffic isn't so easy to drive in. So if I'm walking and the traffic is having a hard time, I'm careful about that. But in terms of Mitahara means our use of resources, to really look at our use of resources. And so external resources can include things like the foods that we eat, the water that we drink, but also the utilities that we're using. This is also on my mind right now because the next phase of Brightonbush's rebuilding for the retreat center is to lay the utilities from the main part of the retreat center or the facility out to where the cabins will be, which is where they used to be. So for those of you who don't know, all the utilities that got out to those cabins were underground, and they've all been demolished by the fire, because the fire wasn't just above ground, it also damaged the electricity and the piping that goes out to the cabins from the main pump that was generating the heat in the radiators, that also got damaged. So utilities is a word I'm using because I've been talking to Brightonbush Hot Springs about this. So Mitahara is our use of resources, including food and water and air and utilities. And also, let's think about it in terms of the fuel that we use in our cars. Right now, people are complaining about the cost of gas. I'm not driving that much, so I'm not in the complaining. But if we look at how much fuel are we using here in the body, so how much fuel do I have to take in for this use, and also how much fuel am I using in my life at large? And yoga recommends looking at that to simplify, much like a parigraha, non-hoarding, non-grasping, non-possessing, and also like the word to simplify, to have less occupying you. So that's a consideration for us. Another resource that I spoke about yesterday is the resource of our attention, our focus, even our attention to give to someone else, right? The resource of our attention, our understanding, our compassion. And during our yoga practice, the resource of how we make effort, how we pay attention, where do we allocate resources for attention or for striving, or where do we daydream, and so on. So all these considerations. Please take a comfortable seat and we shall begin. I'm going to hold my tea mug because it's warm and the room is still heating up. You're welcome to close your eyes. You're also welcome to keep your eyes open. Just let them be less distracting. So if your eyes are open, I wouldn't recommend that they're roaming about your room. Do your best to relax your body and receive the breath. Perhaps listening to a few words about Mitahara, when you receive the breath, we might receive it with more awareness and gratitude, like this planet has been habitable because we can breathe the air that's here. And our bodies go on breathing us even when we're not paying attention. When you bring attention to it, notice what happens. And then as you're welcoming or receiving the breath, now gently direct it using your Ujjayi breath. So this is where you get to moderate how much fuel, as if on the gas stove or the volume knob on a delicate stereo. As you inhale, keep your head and your posture steady, but let's inhale the gaze to the right. Gaze left with the exhale. Inhale right smoothly. Exhale left smoothly. Again. And then inhale, gazing up behind your eyebrows. Exhale, gaze down behind your cheekbones. Repeat that twice more. And then relax your eyes and notice the influence of the simple practice on your mind. And raise your hands to your heart. We'll chant Asatoma Satkamaya. Om Asatoma Satkamaya. Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya. Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Asatoma Satgamaya. Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya. Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha Hari Om. And with your exhale, you may bow your head to your heart. Release your hands. You may open your gaze. You please bring the palms together at the heart like this. Gaze at your fingertips. And then as you inhale, transition your gaze to your thumbs, stretch the arms forward. And exhale, open the arms, follow your gaze to the left. Inhale to center. Exhale, right. Inhale, center. Exhale to the fingertips, hands to your heart. Inhale, press up, follow your thumbs. Exhale, gaze right, open the arms. Inhale, raise up, follow your thumbs. Exhale, gaze left, follow your thumb. Inhale, raise up. And exhale to your fingertips. Inhale, forward, thumbs. Exhale, right. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, left. Inhale, forward. Exhale, fingertips. Inhale, rise. Gaze left, exhale. Inhale, raise up. Exhale, right. Inhale, center. Exhale, fingertips. Close your eyes. Sometimes making extra effort or over efforting actually disturbs the process, right? So now bring your right knee up and the left leg out. And a recommendation that I have here is that you're close enough to the sofa, the wall, or the bookshelf behind you to use a hand against a firm surface. You could also, of course, put your hand on the floor, even on a block, but there's a benefit to having it slightly elevated. Sometimes we do it at the height that the shoulder is. So you can see my hand behind me right now, like that. So just consider the option. Okay, so left leg forward, right knee up to the chest, please. One moment. I'm sipping that tea because it's warm and it supports my sinuses from the upper palate into my face here. So let's take the left hand around the right shin, rotate to your right. Place your right hand on a support behind you. And then as you inhale, lengthen your spine up. Exhale, twist the inner body to your right, including your eyes, which can be closed right now. Then inhale, lengthen the spine up. Exhale for the internal rotation. Notice how turning your eyes to the right may contribute to the internal rotation. When you inhale, relax your gaze, lengthen your spine. Exhale, gaze to your right to support your twist. The eyes are closed. And then exhale, unwind. And bring the left knee up and the right leg out. Cross your right hand around your left knee. Lengthen up through the spine. Rotate to your left. Place your hand on a support. Your pose is a little bit more fixed this way, so that support and the right hand on the shin, you can imagine those two as stabilizing forces. Twist to your left. With the exhale, give attention to the internal rotation, including your eyes. Inhale, attend to the length of the spine. One more exhale. And then unwind, come around to face forward. Put the soles of the feet together, please. Drop the knees out to the side, whatever your flexibility happens to be there for that. Zipper sound. If we were making a movie, you'd have to have a zipper sound on the soundtrack. Okay, put the hands on the ankles and hold firmly here. So when you lift up, you're going to be stretching your neck, right? So raise up and up. Listen to the Ujjayi breath. Roll the shoulders back. And then while your eyes are closed and the chin is lifted, gaze over to your right and down. Then gaze up behind the eyebrows and over to the left and down. And up behind the eyebrows. And then gaze down behind your cheekbones, bring your chin in towards your throat and round your spine. Hold your ankles so you can round the whole spine. I like to raise my heels up because it makes the ankles go forward. Okay, and then inhale, roll through and rise up, lift and lift. Then exhale, roll the spine back. You might choose to raise your heels and ankles. Gaze down behind the cheekbones. Inhale, roll up. Then exhale, curl down. And then roll up to sitting. And please cross your ankles. And sit in your particular posture for, I should say that differently. Don't cross the ankles if you don't want to, but sit in your posture for Kapalabhati. We're going to do some spring cleansing because we're in the season of spring now, in the Kapha season. And so for some of you, you might have congestion in your sinuses. Mine are particularly dry this morning. I think it's from the amount of wind, and even though it's raining, it's still a bit vata, a little bit dry, like our skin and nails might still be dry. But this practice of Kapalabhati is helpful for cleansing the nadis, not just the sinuses. And the nadis are these subtle body nervous system kind of equivalent pathways, but not the nervous system, more subtle than that. Okay, so Noticing at the solar plexus, there's going to be a strong exhale that goes out through the nose. Like that, very powerful for each exhale. At the end of those exhales, we're going to inhale to suspend, and then we'll exhale really smoothly out through the nose. So you can place your hands over your knees as you're sitting upright. Go ahead and close the eyes, and then let's begin. Exhale completely. Inhale to suspend. And exhale slowly and smoothly. And again, lengthen up through the spine. Maybe place the hands over your knees and make the posture more taut. So the power is in the solar plexus, but the body can be stable. We're not crunching the torso with every exhale. Exhale completely. Inhale to suspend. The exhale slowly and smoothly, of course, at your own timing. Relax your hands in your lap. I'll bring the right hand up and we're going to do 10 left, 10 right, 9, 9, 8, 8, 7, 7, 6, 6, like this until you're doing 1, 1, 1, 1. I won't be counting that all for you because everybody's pace is a little bit unique to themselves. So think of exhale left 10, exhale right 10, 9, 9, 8, 8, like that. Let's begin. Exhale completely. Now close the right nostril. Inhale left side. Suspend. Close the left, exhale right. Inhale right. Suspend. Exhale left. And sit quietly. Notice the quality of the mind. Right? This quality of mind that's going to chaperone your Mitahara practice. So with what quality of mind are we going to supervise or chaperone our practice of Mitahara? So if we're doing that from a craving, grasping, wanting mind, that's really different. If we're doing it from aversion, resistance mind, that's also different. So asking this, what quality of mind are we going to be chaperoning from, is a way of also really bringing in the other yamas and the niyamas, as well as remind yourself about abhyasa and vairagyam. Abhyasa means a firm dedication, a commitment, a fervent yes to something. And vairagyam means reducing our raga, our craving, grasping, and clinging. So reducing expectations, reducing attachment to the outcome, abhyasa and vairagyam. So if our mind is able to be there when we're practicing Mitahara, then we won't be like judging ourselves every few moments, how's it going? Because we have this dedication, oh, how's it going? Oh, not very well. Dedication, oh, how's it going? That kind of flickering back and forth would be like a candle flame in a windstorm. We want this Mitahara to be like, we're able to give attention to how we're using our resources, like moment to moment on the yoga mat. So it extrapolates to our lives outside the yoga mat. So step to the front, please, for Tadasana, for mountain pose. You can come in, just decide. It's up to you. You can also keep pawing at the door if you want to. It's fine. Bring your hands to your heart, please. The Ujjayi sound, let's bring that in now and notice that the sound of the breath, it's something very subtle. You'll hear it with the inner ear. You'll feel the breath in the back of the throat. And all the while, there is this consistency in you witnessing how you're efforting and how you're allocating that effort. Let's inhale the hands down, wide and up. Please gaze up to your thumbs. And then exhale and follow a line on the wall, the floor, towards the back of your mat, Uttanasana. Inhale, glide forward and trace your gaze along the floor to something in front of you. Exhale, deeply bow over the legs and let the eyes travel with you towards their destination at the back of your mat. Once more, inhale, glide forward. And exhale for a deep bow. You're going to complete the exhale. Use the inner belly for that. This time we'll inhale, Same Ardha Uttanasana, and we're going to prepare to step backwards. So bend your knees, take the left toes back, find your place. And with your inhale, sweep the arms wide, trace your gaze up the wall, to the ceiling, to your thumbs. Then exhale, open your arms and follow your right thumb. And inhale, raise your arms, following your thumb. And exhale, trace the ceiling, the wall, the floor, arriving. Let's look back at the left foot and inhale to downward dog pose. Look back behind your heels. Exhale to plank pose. Let's inhale directly to seal pose. Exhale, cobra pose. Trace your gaze down towards something on the floor ahead of you. Inhale, rise up to seal pose. Open your throat, look up. Exhale, plank. Gaze down between your hands. And inhale, downward dog, gaze back behind your heels. Exhale, left foot forward. Inhale to rise. Trace your gaze on the wall, the ceiling, and up to your eyes. Up to your thumbs, excuse me. Inhale, open. Take your gaze to your left, following your thumb. Inhale, raise up and follow your thumb. So the eyes are going to meet both thumbs up overhead. And then exhale, trace the ceiling, the wall, the floor, back towards your right foot. Inhale, downward dog, gaze back between your heels. Exhale, plank pose. Look down between the thumbs. Inhale directly to seal pose. Trace your gaze up the wall to the ceiling. Exhale, cobra. Bring your gaze down towards something in front of you. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, plank. Gaze down between your thumbs. Inhale, downward dog, shifting your gaze back behind your mat. And then step forward 1 foot, 2nd foot, Uttanasana. Inhale to rise. Notice that following your gaze is called drifty. In this way, exhale, Anjali Mudra. It's already kind of tempering how you allocate your energy, your effort, your concentration. We're going to repeat. Inhale, raise the arms up, gaze up, find your thumbs meeting. Exhale, follow the ceiling, the floor, the wall, whatever you're gazing at behind you consistently. And inhale, glide forward. Hi, Bindi. Exhale, take the left toes back. Hi, honey. Inhale, rise up to your crescent and trace your gaze on the wall, the ceiling, find your thumbs. Now, as you're looking up, stabilize your mind, your breath, and your pose. And then really slowly take the left inner heel down to warrior 1. And as the heel comes down, it's like your foot is on a small angle. It's not 45 degrees really, maybe like 20 to 30 degrees turned out. And keep the right knee as well as you can over your right heel. And now exhale, sweep the arms wide and trace a line on the floor until you're gazing back at your left heel. Look past your kitten. Okay, now noticing where your heel is, walk your hands forward. You don't have to move your gaze. Walk the blocks forward also. And bow your head. Let the torso come down to the inside of your right thigh. The left inner heel grounded, and to the best of your ability, your right knee directly over your right heel. Not because there's a protractor anywhere here, but because there's a steadiness, a commitment that you make there. Now, if you have your balance and the torso feels relaxed about it, keep your gaze on the left inner heel and reach back to interlace your fingers. And then raise the arms up towards the ceiling. You have to hold steady even if your kitten is climbing your leg, as she was a moment ago. And then release your hands. Reach for the blocks. You know where they are. You don't have to look for them. Place them again at your right foot. Press into your hands and step to plank pose. Gaze down between your thumbs and notice the temperature change going down your right leg. And then inhale, reach back into downward facing dog pose. Exhale, left foot forward. Step over your kitten. Inhale, rise up while you trace the gaze along the wall, the ceiling, and up to your thumbs. And then as you're looking up, stabilize the pose and take your right inner heel slowly down to the floor. When you're turning the heel, make it a slight angle so you still sense that your hips are able to face forward. And then exhale, sweep the arms wide, trace the ceiling, the wall, the floor. Come down to look at your right heel. As you gaze back, walk your hands and your blocks forward. Let the torso come down to the inside of your left thigh. Keep your left knee balanced over your left heel to the best of your ability. And if you have your balance, walk your hands back to interlace your fingers at the small of your back. And raise the arms up overhead. And notice how you're allocating effort and energy, attention, concentration. As you exhale, without having to look for the blocks, reach your hands back in that direction. Walk your blocks down to be on the mat near your left foot. And as you gaze back at the right foot, step to plank pose, put your gaze down between your thumbs. Notice the temperature changes that are happening. And then inhale, reach back to downward facing dog pose. You follow your next exhale to plank pose. And then inhale to seal pose or upward dog pose if the cat is on the mat. And exhale, plank. And inhale, downward dog. Exhale, step one foot forward, second foot forward. Inhale to rise. Trace a line, meet your thumbs. Exhale, hands to your heart. Gaze at your fingertips. Close your eyes and notice the inner chaperone, your inner experience. Now we're going to make a variation on that. We'll just see how I do here. You guys look so happy. Oh, Panda, are you cleaning your dad's head? Yeah? Okay. All right, here we go. So inhale, hands down, raise up, gaze up. And exhale. Follow simply with the eyes to Uttanasana, gazing at the back of your mat or beyond. Inhale, slide forward, gaze towards what your object of focus has been here. Bend your knees, take the left toes straight back. Step past the kittens. Inhale, rise up, crescent. Now, as you're gazing up at your thumbs, start rotating your back foot to the pose called Parsvakonasana, the side angle pose. So it's a bigger angle for the turn. Your hips are likely now facing a little bit on a diagonal, not directly towards the right knee. And then exhale and come down to Parsvakonasana. Place your right hand on its block. Press into the left heel, reach through your left arm. And if it's possible for the flexibility of your neck, gaze down and towards your left heel. Notice how that moves your posture a little bit towards the back hemisphere of the pose. Root the tailbone strongly. And then inhale and gaze up towards your left thumb. And that opens the posture some, so a little bit of a back bend in the upper back. Gaze back at your left heel, a little more flexion in the lumbar spine and the pelvis. And once more, inhale, gaze up at your left thumb. And then inhale, raise back up, lift your right arm. And exhale, warrior two. Exhale, release your pose over your right leg, gaze back at your left heel, and step to plank pose. Downward facing dog pose. Okay, exhale, left foot forward. Inhale, rise to your crescent. Look up, find your thumbs. Stabilize your mind and your pose and slowly take the right heel in preparation for Parsvakonasana. So your hips are going to have an angle, not straight on towards the left knee. And exhale and come down to Parsvakonasana. You know where the block is. As you inhale, gaze towards your right heel, almost like you're stretching a parachute on the back of the body. Now, keeping the back leg strong, with your inhale, gaze up towards your right thumb. And you want to use your heart and a little bit of a back bend in the thoracic spine to support your neck and head. And then gaze towards your right heel again. And towards your thumb. And then exhale, rise up to stand. Both arms up, gaze up. And exhale, warrior two. And exhale, lower your arms, come over your left leg, gaze back towards your right heel. Step to downward dog pose. Okay, exhale, plank pose. Upward facing dog pose. Touch the knees down, table to child's pose. And let's take one block to place for the head. Hello. Are you happy there? Come into child's pose with your head supported, please. And you can just reflect back on how you were using your resources. In what way do you find yourself refining attention or concentration or breath or muscular action? Did things feel evenly allocated? Appropriately giving resource in one place more than, let's say, another place, because it would be an appropriate distribution for the kind of pose that you're doing. And then walk your hands back towards your knees and please come to kneeling. And what we're going to do is rabbit pose with the hands clasped behind the back. So you're all comfortable there? You have no needs or questions? No yoga aspirations? Sorry that I startled you there. Sorry. Okay, you can stay if you want. Okay, clasp the hands behind your back, please. Now, as we inhale, some of you are going to find that you'd like to have a block behind you because if your knuckles are going to come down to something, for some of you, that's going to be a block. For me, it's going to be the floor. And then exhale and come forward. So you're going to fold the lower belly, mid belly, upper belly over your thighs, touch the forehead down, and then inhale, roll up to rabbit pose. Exhale, roll back down, hips to your heels. And then inhale, raise up. We're going to be looking up. Put your knuckles on the floor or a block or a blanket. And exhale, come forward. Slowly, like you're squeezing the breath out and you're also squeezing the abdomen against your thighs. Inhale, roll up to rabbit pose. Exhale, child's pose. Inhale, rise up, yoga mudra. Look up, please. And exhale one more time, come down. As you're rolling through the exhale and the lower belly, then touch your forehead down and go to rabbit pose. And exhale, hips to your heels and rise up to Vajrasana. And notice what's happening now. Please bring a chair onto your mat, and I'd like you to pad the front edge of the chair. get both blankets, so they're going to be available, but you're going to pad the front of the chair with one blanket for right now. You can come to kneeling, sit on one block, something like this. And I'd like you to ask yourself, if you lean back and you place your shoulder blades at the front edge of the chair right there, reach for the second block. Now, the shoulder blades touching there, for some of you, it's going to mean that you go farther from the chair before you lean back because maybe your spine is taller. For some, it's going to mean that you're closer to the chair before you lean back. And I'd like you to put a block, you can see there, for your head. And then let's raise the arms up and reach over. I'd like to clasp my hands and put my wrists over the far edge of the chair. So I'm just resting them there. But for some of you, your arms might not stay comfortably overhead like this, or your arms are longer than mine, in which case you could also choose to bend the elbows and hold the upper back of the chair with your palms face down. Press the shins down against the floor, and please raise your hips up. So you're going to feel your hip flexors and your quadriceps. Raise the hips up, lift the butt up. And then exhale, lower your hips down. I'll raise your hips up. Press the shins firmly down. Exhale, lower your pelvis down. And you can decide if that movement is pretty fluid for you. You could take the block out from under your head. It's going to increase the back bend when you're coming down, but you should check that it's going to be comfortable. So you inhale, raise the hips up. It's going to feel easier for your head to be resting on the chair because your hips are lifted. And then exhale, lower the hips down and ask if that's comfortable for your upper back and also your neck. Don't compromise the neck on behalf of some yoga pose. So you inhale, raise the hips. Notice what's happening in the hip flexors, the quads. Exhale, lower your pelvis down and do your best to keep the neck stable and make the movement in your thoracic spine. Let's do it one more time, raising up. Exhale, lower your hips down. And then put your hands behind your head if you had your chair seat for your support and roll up to kneeling. Let's come back to Vajrasana. Right knee up, please, like this. Rock, take your left hand around your right knee, lift up through your chest and heart, and twist to your right. Rotate your twist to gaze back towards your right thumb with the eyes closed. Notice the subtle form of the Ujjayi breath and how full your concentration can be. And then exhale, come around to face forward. Tuck the right leg under, left leg out. Wrap your right hand around your left thigh. Rotate to your left. exhale, rotate around to face forward. Okay, now what we're going to do here is use a variation on shoulder stand. And I want to say once again, two announcements. One is that there is a yoga therapy clinic coming up about shoulder stand. There's also one for headstand, for pranayama, and for your meditation seat. As well, if you found any of those standing poses to be difficult, our series in April called Yoga Mechanics and Mindfulness is focused on the standing poses. And those are opportunities, each one of the things I just mentioned are opportunities to get more individualized attention than we can give in this context. The way that we're doing class right now is not a lot of individualized attention. In fact, no individual attention. There's too many squares and it's not the right kind of dynamic. So those are places to get individualized, tailored attention. And we set the price to hopefully keep it accessible, but also to compensate our teachers fairly for all their training and their expertise. So what we're going to do here is a variation of shoulder stand that requires a chair and two blocks. And it's going to bring us into what's called Candlestick Pose, which is again a variation of a very powerful yoga pose called shoulder stand. We have the two blocks at the ready, the two blankets at the ready for Shavasana. So keep those there and bring yourself so that you're lying on your back with your knees bent and your feet on the chair. Go really close to the chair. Now I'm saying really close because I don't have very long arms. So for me to reach the toes of the chair, I have to be close enough to get to it. And then you have your two blocks here. Okay, so holding the toes of the chair, prepare to scooch your shoulders under your upper back. And you do that by lifting just part way up and then scooch the shoulders. Once you've scooched the shoulders, then you can raise the hips kind of all the way up. So this is a high bridge pose. Now, if you're very stable, you take one block on the flat setting under the pelvis, the second block on the tall setting on top of the first block with good architecture. Do not skimp on the design. Then you can put your hips onto those blocks. Of course, you don't need to do small and then tall. You could do two blocks on the medium setting also. But now you're going to have support right under the sacrum. So doing the shoulder part of shoulder stand is going to be easier. And then take one leg up to candlestick pose. Take the second leg up to candlestick pose. Gaze towards your heart. Place one foot on the chair seat, second foot on the chair seat. Energize your feet and arms, shoulders. Raise your hips. Put one block aside. Lower down about halfway. Put the other block aside. Lower down all the way. Release your arms. Let's take the soles of the feet together. The knees out to the side. And place your legs over the chair with your toes. You're going to be able to tip the chair backwards. I'm going to recommend that you take one of your folded blankets and put it under the pelvis. But don't put your chair on your blanket, otherwise you can't move it. And so one blanket for the pelvis. And then take the second blanket for Pratyahara. Cover your eyes, snuggle your ears. When you come into Shavasana, you have the legs elevated, so circulation is still going back towards the heart and towards the head. And you have this Pratyahara blanket, so it's a quiet inward cave for several minutes. Invite the possibility that as you've practiced, your body now wants to revitalize the internal resources, like the endocrine system, the immune system, digestion. Deeply rest your mind. It uses the most resource, so deeply, deeply rest your mind. Allow the mind to deeply, deeply rest. So all resources going to healing right now, not to thinking or daydreaming. Body and the muscles of the body deeply relax as well. So imagine the inner resources are being restored or replenished. Mind be very much at rest. Body deeply at ease. Your resources being replenished. Lightly wiggle your fingers, your toes. Please bring your knees towards your chest. Make a gentle effort to transition from resting into rolling to your side. Rise up to your seat. Return to meditation, please. No, I see you there. Come to your meditation seat without crushing your kitten. You got it? Okay. Let's check and see then, how does it feel inside? What is the feeling tone now? If you were to reflect from this place in the mind or the resources about the external resources that you are also supported by, that you make use of, what now is your discovery? Raise your hands to your heart. Thank you very much for being here. Namaste. You may bow your head to your heart if you like. Please release your hands. When you're ready, you can open the eyes. I had to change cameras because the other one went off. Let me stop our recording here. He snores and purrs, and she purrs. She doesn't snore. Sometimes she has a little sleepy sound, but I know that might sound pretty loud in the microphone right now, so apologies for that.